I know sometimes there's a bit of a time delay, so I'm hoping that anyone online that you can hear me. If someone can not hear me, I know you can't hear me, but maybe you could write and we will see that I'm talking. Otherwise, maybe you could write and say that you can hear me. First of all, welcome everyone. This is part of Cultural Days here in Ontario. I know we have folks online from all over. The reason we have this is we celebrate Ontario, and this is an open rehearsal, so it is a rehearsal. Give some corrections pretty quickly. Normally we would probably take an hour just to work on, but today we do a few different sections so that you won't get bored. Now, he does it for Christmas. It's just going, speaking, and of course we're going to do works. Now, Anna Green Gables, the ballet, we're going to start to do 3 little excerpts. First ballet coming up for us, it will be opening in Brockville on November, and it completes a 5-year tour of that production. It was supposed to be a 1.5-year tour, but there was something called the pandemic that interrupted it, and so everything's been rescheduled, and also the presenters have wanted it back and back and back. So it's actually 3 times. It's been out east 3 times into the United States. So this will be the final run tour. I'm sure it will be back. There'll be a little bit of a rest. So we're going to start with Anna Green Gables with a little section from the duet between Anne, Shirley, and friend Diana. Because it's a new season, we always have of casts. Who's going to be doing Dana Barry has never danced this before. So you will see her very first semi-public performance. So start with a little duet after Anne has met Dana Barry in PEI. We should work on the last section into the jeté. We need to travel more in the jeté. You're a little out of sync with each other. If you just go into that part. And don't forget to travel. Yeah. That's good. Also, at the very beginning, we're going to go up and you need to bring the foot up together. What's the count? Do we have a count? Yeah. Now take your time, your relevé, and there you go. Yeah, that's right. And you guys can still be bigger and really let the other person pull you. Like it's good, but it still can be bigger. Can we just try those first pulls and just really wait for the other person to pull you? Yeah. Yeah. So wait and let her, yeah, and wait, and there you go. And yeah, all right. So then we get the natural flow of the movement. All right, good. We're going to move on. All right. Now, if you have any questions, you're more than happy. Just type them in the comments and we'll answer them. And if you have any questions here, we'll open them because not later. So we can do it right now. So if anyone has any questions on that little, it is very short.
And the reason for this is that it's a long story to tell. And so each scene that we do,
so in order to keep the story going, we luxuriate in dancing where it's not needed. Statement and one. And so we just saw they just met, and you get the that's much. It's not really one ballet. It's a number of different scenes of all of the great ballets, right? So it makes it also challenging to keep all of them. I'm going to jump to the very of the ballet together. And we have children, local children in every community. Right now we have Rose, do you want to put up your hand? Rose and Lily, they would normally be local children. And just to make sure they're just as confused as local children are, we only told them just before that they're going to do this part. So this is kind of the reality that they're going to deal with. So we're going to get run because it's really great practice for us. Sometimes it's not so much about learning to do them well, it's just learning to work as a team. And as some of the people are first time in these roles. If you have any questions, just put on or we'll answer afterwards. All right, here we are, opening of Anna Green Gables the ballet. They can't hear us online. I'm speaking. It's on. No? You can't hear us? We're good now? If we actually have the show, it's not working. I don't know. Still a bit. All right, so that's the opening scene. Now, could I have the 4 people at the back? When you do go over, you need to get through your retirés, right? And you need to get the legs turned out as we step over, right? So here we go. So yeah, no, we're getting this look, right? You need to get the legs up through, and you need to, yeah, and you got to make sure that you get the heel, yeah. So otherwise it gets on. The jump 1, 2, 3. We have the 2 couples jumping together, so we need to go over the counts for that too. Yeah, we're a little late, Mandy. What's your count? 8, 1, and that will make your count 2, right? Try one more time. And when are we coming down? Because we're not like
8, 9, 10.
All right, so we're counting. Okay, so 8, 9, 10. But we're going to 1. Okay, let's try it again with a count, just so we get it together. That's better. Can we go over when we switching over again? We need to be bigger. So with the gentlemen, this is the part. Holding on to them side by side. Yeah. Ladies, let the guys move you, right? So here we go, and we step and we switch and lead. Yeah. So holding yourself. So if he takes the hand off, you will. All right. Let's try it one more time. Step and 1, 2, and switch. Switch over. Yeah. Can you cross? Cross over. Too small with the dresses. All right, good. All right, we're before we move on, are there any questions? Me online now. We wanted it to be longer, but longer works. So hours max. Ballet, full-length ballet that will premiere in 25, 26. Stay tuned. Will be shorter because people want even shorter ballets. So they're changing, and ballet has to change. When we first did some of these big ballets, hours, one like left for hours, right? Sleeping Beauty, the same. Sleeping Beauty clocks in just under 2 hours. So there is people can't sit anymore because we're used to flicking our screens, right? So we change with the time. One little told that she can stay at Green Gables. Section. first show, so I'm just reminding her. She knows exactly what to do. Indicate good. Trust yourself, go deeper, and then, yeah, that's right, just, yeah. Casting, join with the two others, and so we make sure your hips swing so that you move your hips, right? So it's not a combination. Yeah. Go and lean a little bit. Yes, there you go. And lean a little bit, and yeah, so they can follow you. And there we go. Yeah. All right. Good. And for your favorite step, you know which one? Every dancer have their things, like R8 has their thing. That was very good. No kind of preparation, and it will always work. All right, thank you. So that's it for Green Gables. So you have one more chance to see live, Rockville, November the 1st, and then it's going to be rested. We need to rest ourselves from Green Gables, all right? If you have any questions, again, if you join us online, please feel free to just type them in and we'll get them. Any questions from those of you here before we move on out of Green Gables into something called? I can't read that.
Stand near this computer to talk. That mic doesn't really work that well.
Oh, so I have to
Stand near the computer.
This computer.
Which computer?
This one right here.
This computer.
No, the one.
Okay. So can you hear me online right now? Can I get confirmation just so, because it's not fun for people online when they can't hear. We're good
Yes.
if I stand, so I'm going to be very close. Very intimate. All right. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move on to another ballet called the Nutcracker. Our version is a Canadian version set at Algonquin Park in Northern Ontario. It's a partnership with the Michael Canadian Art Collection. So they're set to backdrops by the group of 7. And we're going to show you 2 little excerpts from, well, one will be an actual complete divertimento from Act 2, which is set in Algonquin Park in summertime. And we are going to do a section that's normally called the Dance of the Reeds, which we didn't do for many years because I honestly hated the music when I danced it. It is lovely music, but for whatever reason, when I grew up and saw the Nutcracker, it was this horrible choreography with this music, and I just could not do it. So I blamed lack of money on not having costumes, but sooner or later somebody said, no, it's time. So we did it last year, and we actually have with us the 2 people that helped fund it. I had to go and beg for money to get those costumes. And I'm sure you can tell what this section is, but I'm not going to tell you just in case. I'll come back and explain it afterwards. We're just going to look at this little excerpt from the Nutcracker.
otherwise people can't hear me. Can you just do the you can hear me? Yeah. Okay, we'll see. All right. Okay, and in the part where you shunt back the first time to the corner here, 1, 2, 3, we need to be lower and you need to shunt. You're jumping, the hip should not go up, your feet should be moving back, it should stay the same. Yeah, so yeah, try to lead with the heels because you're going a little bit too much to the back, and that means the heels come off. So shunt, yes, there you go. I think everybody can see the rabbits. These are rabbits. If we weren't clear, white-tailed rabbits live in Algonquin Park. Yeah, and so we gotta be rabbits. Okay. We need to get the feet a little higher. I know this is Charlie hates this part. Charlie's in the middle, but we still have to practice it. But we gotta make sure we get the feet up when we go down, right? So yeah. There you go. Yeah. So your right leg is good. Drop your left leg is not getting up. So you gotta try to get both legs up. All right, there's some work to be done. We'll keep practicing on that one. Can we also look at when we roll into the diagonal? Yeah. So again, be more grounded as we're rolling. Yeah. 3, and now roll and up and boom. Yeah, and stay there. Yes, stay down. And as you get the weight here on your front and shoot again. Good. All right. So hard part for this is it's 3 minutes and they keep going. So before they worry about the steps, they have to build the stamina. It's like going to the gym, running on a treadmill, right? Because if they die halfway through, it looks terrible, right? So part of the problem for a dancer is you can dance it really well in the studio, but all of a sudden on stage with energy, and maybe it's a harder stage than you used to, you're a little nervous, and 2 minutes in, you feel nothing. Your legs are gone, and it just feels miserable. So we have to build stamina, so that's why we run it, just in part, just for them to build the stamina and get used to it. We're going to do another section. This is a traditional, the waltz from the second act, Waltz of the Flowers. We are in Ontario. I always ask this, and I'm sure that everybody knows that are from Ontario. We're going to find out. What is the flower of Ontario? Right. It wasn't so trillium. Yeah, you're looking for it. Yes, it is a trillium flower. And so, of course, our lead flower is a trillium flower. Yeah. And again, these flowers are shaped based on what lives and grows in Algonquin Park. So we have some people that have never done these roles before, and somebody that just started her contract on Monday, and it's now going to perform for you. And we'll see if you can pick her up. All right. She'll do her very best to fit in. All right. So here we go. A little excerpt from Waltz of the Flowers. stay closer to the so, so they did very well. I don't think you could probably tell. They didn't know it. Yeah. Let me start with the ladies. You first ladies coming in. When you're coming forward, you do a foot brawl, right? And you can go through. Ooh. Where are you going to go through? Draw off, root first. Where is this root first? I'm not here. You're not here either. Draw off first. Draw off straight first. Yeah, let's go straight first. Yeah. Yeah. So, and yeah, make sure the two of you come together. Yeah. Okay. Very important. Yeah. Good. Good. Can we have the four ladies? Yeah. And action turns. Not bad. Make sure that your legs are fully stretched before you step on them. Okay? Bring the arms in front of you. I know it's a little scary, right? Yeah. Now make sure that you don't move so that's what's happening. You're moving your leg, right? You have to make sure you keep it right in front of you. It's okay, forward. It's a rehearsal. Yeah, you're still moving. You're going to have to keep working on making sure that you don't move it because it's going to make you pull off. Yes. So just remember, you go make sure that the yeah. All right. Can we have Sakura and the two gentlemen? So the very first lifts, make sure as we lift that you don't let the shoulders come up, right? That you feel the sides. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, good. Now, if we can do the développé lift, same thing. Yeah, that you don't let the shoulders come up. Shoulders down. Yeah, good. All right, good. You say in your double, you should land before, right? Make sure and land. Yeah. Even more weight over your leg. Yeah. Boom. Yes, that's right. You feel how you're pulling off. So make sure you can travel, but make sure you go straight up and that you can land so that you're over your supporting leg. Yeah, as you go into it. Okay. We're going to move on to Sleeping Beauty. Are there any questions on the Nutcracker, either from those of you online or here in the audience? So the Nutcracker will be done in Ontario, opening in mid-November in Brantford, and then it will go across the province. It will also go to Saskatoon and Regina. So if you live in Saskatchewan, come and see us. If you live in Ontario, it's all across the province, finishing in Markham on December 31. So basically for 6 weeks, we're just doing the Nutcracker. So yeah. All right, Sleeping Beauty was created before the Nutcracker. Tchaikovsky wrote 3 great classics, and Petipa, with help from others, created the 3 great classics that people think of as the great classical canon from Russia that were basically shaped in 1890, Sleeping Beauty, 1892, the Nutcracker, and the version that we think of as Swan Lake, 1895. The music for Swan Lake was written earlier because the first version of Swan Lake was in 1870 in Moscow. It was a disaster. And this version that has become known as Swan Lake, Tchaikovsky never got to see. He had died. And some of the music for that version is also edited and added, so it's not all of Tchaikovsky. However, the 2 pieces that you're seeing today were written very close together. Sleeping Beauty was finished in 1899, the music, and then it was premiered in 1890. It was not a huge hit at the time. Tchaikovsky was very annoyed with the Tsar because the Tsar had seen the production and just commented it was a very pretty little work. Yes. I cannot, but I can hold it here. All right. Can you hear me through the mic now? This is an ongoing problem. Technology, all right? Everybody says technology. It never really works the way it should. Anyway,
it wasn't really a hit. He was very annoyed because that was really dismissal of a sweet little work that didn't really mean much. And it's true that Sleeping Beauty is not viewed as a great musical work, but it is a fantastical, beautiful piece of music when you listen to it and you see it with dance. There's so many sections. So we're going to show you a few little sections from Sleeping Beauty, and we're going to start with the section that takes place usually between what's considered the prologue and Act 1. It's really 4 acts, but it's labeled prologue, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And usually this is sort of a character scene, and it's a little boring, really. But we don't like boring, and people don't like to come and see boring, so we've redone it. And we've kept the essence, meaning these are basically, we call them knitting ladies, even though you could also call them spinning ladies. These are basically seamstresses and whatever. And we just created something really fun. I'm going to show you a little excerpt. And all of these that you're going to see are trained here at George Brown College. So I want to also acknowledge that George Brown is a great supporter of the arts. This program is turning 50. So it's one of the longest serving programs. And for those of you that know how fickle support for the arts is in the world, you should thank George Brown for being committed to the performing arts in a way that I don't think any other post-secondary institution in Canada is. So I want to acknowledge that. And these dancers have all been trained here. So we're going to do the little knitting scene from Sleeping Beauty. Again, we have someone that just learned it. So it's tricky. Yeah, you got to be on your toes.
Now, very first entrance, Lydia, you got to make sure your hand is in the way. So it's still moving on the outside. Yeah, make sure that it stays right into your waist. Yeah. Can we pick up the feet more as you go into so that the feet is soft, right? Underneath the soft, all forward, right? Really, get the feet up and under.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And can we try the bell swing at the end? I need you to swing and stay with your upper body in one place where the feet are moving forward and back, and literally playing as if you're going to go flat down. Give yourself, yeah. So shall we try together? Here we go. All right. Yeah, let's step to the side, and here we go. No, we need to lean even more here. We're gonna have to lean over sideways and lean back and stay with your upper body. The feet keep moving. Yeah, let's try the last part again. So the feet So you're up, right? Your body stays, but your feet are moving, just like a pendulum. Yeah. Good. All right. And again, when we swing out here at the end, make sure that the foot goes straight to the side. Do not do rond de jambe, and try to kick yourself underneath so that you're really getting and up. Yeah. Good. All right. Now, you notice there was a guy in there. That's Caraboss. It's unisex, but we usually have a man do it, but it could be a woman. So our story, the Sleeping Beauty can be called Sleeping Beauty, but in many countries it's called Rose Thorn or the Thorn of the Rose. And our version is based on a Saskatchewan tale of how the rose got its thorn. So we are somewhere in between. We live between sort of Sleeping Beauty but we tell the story of how the rose got its thorn. So it's not just a pretty little ballet. It's also an educational event. So you can bring your kids and feel good about it. Yeah, all right. So Sleeping Beauty is going to tour again across Canada. And we're going to leave this section unless anyone have any questions about, no, thanks so much. That's okay. Thanks, John. All right. We're going to move on to the first act of Sleeping Beauty, and we are doing a little excerpt. This is towards the end, just before Caraboss comes in and messes everything up by making Aurora prick her finger. And we have a little interlude scene when basically the lead lady has to catch her breath. She goes out, and they do a little interlude, and then she comes up and she does the finale, bravura, hopefully bravura, sometimes not so much if her legs are dead, but otherwise it's bravura. And so this is basically the setup, and you'll see how it ends. It sets up her entrance, and then she does the entrance. Then we have Caraboss, and you know the story. She pricks her finger, she falls asleep, and on and on and on. So we're just going to take a look at the little interlude section. Up and looks hopefully fantastic. All right. We're going to do a little bit of work. So these guys have just learned it because we have not done Sleeping Beauty since 2016. We were supposed to do it, but then COVID came and everything shifted, and Anne came in between and did a bunch of tours. And so it's been a long time since we did this. So none of these guys have done Sleeping Beauty. Sometimes when, you know, we have the benefit that people have done it before, it might make it easier to adjust in when people know it. But this case, pretty well everyone is brand new in the roles. If we can start at the beginning, just make sure as after your colliers or as we do the développé jumping, make sure that your hips are square to the corner so that we get lead of the hip. Yeah, all right. It goes for all of you. Just make sure that you keep the hip. Yes, right. Make sure. Otherwise, we get our lines. Yeah, very, very important. Yeah. Sakura, you have a lot of energy. You're rushing a quarter beat ahead of the other. So just try to stay on the beat. Yeah. Can we look at the section where you do the pirouettes? All right. And the two of you are not quite in sync. And don't rush the first plie. The first plie, you have time, right? And keep the arms in front of you, right? 7, 8, and up, and 2, and up, and 2. Yeah. And I would like for both of you to keep your arms more firmly in front so that they're not moving in the turn, right? Once you set the front arm, just bring the other arm to it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And both of you can afford to go more up. You feel so rushed because you want to get around. Try to go up and around as opposed to just around, right? Up and around. Yes. Up and around. There you go. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll keep practicing on that part. You say smile. All right. People don't realize how hard it is to smile when we concentrate. In the olden days, when teachers said whatever they wanted, we can't do that anymore. We have to be nice, and we are. But they would make us do class, and they would make us smile. They would train us to smile. It was horrible, right? At age 9, that's when they would start. They didn't care about the technique. No, you got to learn to smile. All right. If you want a job, you have to smile. All right. We don't force our people to smile anymore, but we remind them they still have to do it. All right. Okay. So now we have the emboutees in attitude, right? We need to make sure that you move from the back of the legs so that you don't end up turning in, right? Yeah. Yeah. And I would love for you to cross your thighs a little bit more, right? So that you don't end up splaying, and it'll make it easier to keep the bounce going, right? So that, exactly. Yeah. Keep the, cross the thighs, and it will work a lot better. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any questions? Yes, finally. Yes, actually 2 just came on board this week. They're both in this piece. Yeah, well, they can learn online, and if you're dedicated, you do extra work. I would say, had they not done extra work, we wouldn't have done this section for you. But yeah, fundamentally, as a dancer, you have a choice. You can wait for your rehearsal, and you will not get through as much, or you learn a lot of the stuff on your own, so that in the rehearsal we can work on the quality and the steps and the timing. And we have very dedicated dancers. Thank you. Yeah, right. Yeah, they're doing a great job given how little time they have, right? All right. We are going to move on to our final excerpt, and we are going to now jump to the very end of the ballet, not the very last sequence, but almost the last sequence. This is what part of the Grand Pas de Deux, which is at the end. This is when the prince has woken Aurora with a kiss, and therefore there's always in these old ballets a Grand Pas de Deux, which is made up of a Pas de Deux where 2 dancers dance together, and then a solo by the male, and then a solo by the female, and then by a coda. And it was obviously a way to, it really defines, because it was really, really, really hard. But I noted that in some of the versions in the early days, they would actually have 2 guys. One would do the partnering, and another would come in and do the, I think that's great. But today, that's like, people think, no, it's got to be the same guy. So it's really, really hard. And they're just going to run it, because again, they actually need to work on the stamina just as much as they have to work on the steps, because even if they are great and their stamina goes, they can't, it's going to look terrible, and you go, oh my God, why did he cast them, right? And that, we can't have that. So they got to practice in the studio to build up the stamina. All right. Now, I should say that Sleeping Beauty originally was a production that was glorifying one autocratic regime by looking back at another, right? So Sleeping Beauty was originally as a ballet created to glorify the Tsar and the imperial court and autocratic rule of that government by looking back at Louis XIV, the Sun King, which we view very positively in dance because he was a major force for ballet and for the arts, but he was also an autocratic regime. And today we don't like that. We have democracy. So sometimes Sleeping Beauty seems old-fashioned, which is why in our case we've completely done away with that. It's not about glorifying. This is about telling a story. But in this case, we maintain some of the original elements that people love. That is nothing, you know, we love them regardless of what the context is. So we've changed the context so we can enjoy these ballets without having to enjoy also what was really just a propaganda piece for something that we wouldn't accept today. So Akari and Leo are going to try to get through this without dying. All right, let's see how they do. Pretty good. Yeah. But remember, this comes at the end of a bunch of solos, a bunch of work, and now they have to do 2 solos, and then they have to do the coda. So they're not done. This is just part of it. So it's super, super difficult for the dancers to get through all of this. It's one thing to do it in pieces and do a little segment. We can all look good. But to do 2 hours and looking good for 2 hours is really an incredible thing that very few people can do. And so I take my hat off to all the dancers around the world that do these kind of works, because it's a lot of work and consistent effort, not just in the studio, but also what to eat, how much they sleep, and not drinking too much. I say that, but you know, whatever. You know, things people enjoy, you have to do in moderation, because otherwise it becomes really tough when you got to go out there. Now, I promise I'm not going to give them any notes, but since they had just gone through and we have like 1 minute or 2 minutes left, I'm just going to ask them what it's like, in their own words, to dance this stuff, right? And Akari hates to speak, but Leo's pretty chatty. He's pretty chatty, so I'm not sure where we're talking, which mic, but same mic. So what is it like to actually do these ballets? Like, really? Is it just pain?
No. I mean, they are very, very challenging. You have to keep your body in shape all the time to be able to not just do the technique, but also embrace the character. Like in this ballet, I have to be a prince where, right, I'm just like hanging out with my friends, and out of nowhere, I have this vision of this young lady that is Akari here, and I just feel like drawn into her. And until the time when I meet her, I have just to have this feeling where I'm just like dreaming and, you know, falling in love with her. So they are very challenging, but I do find very rewarding just embracing this character. But also, I'm so like bunhead that like I'm always like, oh my god, this step here, the music there. But I do find them like very, it's very special to me.
Akari, speak, but tell me what you hate the most about this piece.
Lame duck.
Lame. Yes. Okay. Lame duck is step when you step over and you spin on one leg. Yeah. All right. That's okay. Well, we're doing them well. Yeah. Yeah. So I would just remind everyone. So Sleeping Beauty will premiere here in Ontario in Guelph in early January. We finish Nutcracker. We open Sleeping Beauty, and then we do Sleeping Beauty sometime in May. Start of a brand new work in that time on top of this, and we do school shows, other productions as well. So I want to say thank you to you online and here for coming out to support us. It's really important. You actually help us because this is sort of a simulated stage experience, so that when they go on stage, they already have gotten a few of their nerves out. So thank you for coming. Thank you. Those of you that support financially, really thank you. Come and buy tickets. Keep loving dance, and thank you for coming out. And